It's hard to say what it is I see in you. Wonder if I'll always be with you. Or words can't say what I can do. Enough to prove it's all for you. Man, that guy's a good singer because I tortured that. Man, I've been working in the yard today. Holy crap, have I been working. Sweating. I can't even do it like I used to, man. I used to be a beast. Oh, well, I hung out with Philly News Now and Trump Said last night. It was very fun. Now I'm just going through videos, and this one popped in my feed. And not a shocker, I'm going to be pausing this. If you don't want to hear me, go to CBS Chicago right now. Otherwise, go F.
Right here. We're going to plug that right into the
Damn commercial.
port. And through the sensor, it's going to...
What just happened, man? What is this? What is going on here?
Now to a promise of action and change following a nearly year-long CBS 2 investigation of Chicago police raiding the wrong homes.
Innocent children like this little boy traumatized by guns pointed at them. CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini exposes 2 new cases along with what the mayor and inspector general vow to do.
Did anybody knock?
No.
They just came in?
First, they busted through the doors of his family's apartment, and then came the guns.
They had their finger on a trigger.
A lot of guns. Handguns and assault rifles like these.
So they were pointing the guns at your sisters? And what were you thinking then?
I'm thinking maybe they were going to get shot.
8-year-old J.J. Jackson was playing in his room when Chicago police burst in. His 11-year-old sister, Talia, says guns were in their faces.
I was afraid and confused.
And tonight, a disturbing pattern continues as more families are accusing Chicago police of bad raids. Busting in homes and drawing weapons on innocent families.
How many of you had guns pointed at you?
Including Jolanda Blassingame's family.
And I felt scared for my life.
Her boys were playing video games while she was cooking dinner when she says police threw a flashbang grenade into her home.
How many of you?
A flashbang grenade. What in the world? This is all drug war pigs. The drug war is unconstitutional. Dear police, the drug war is unconstitutional. What you're doing is you're committing terrorism against American people when you do this stuff.
We're told to get down on the ground.
Police used the word of an unnamed informant who, according to the complaint for search warrant, said weekly heroin sales were being made by this man at the address where Blassingame and her kids lived.
They had an informant.
Yeah.
That's what they told you?
Yeah.
But we found the man police were looking for didn't even live there.
This is the person police were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's ever even seen this guy.
Nope. I knew they had the wrong apartment when they looked at each other crazy. Dave.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot says these wrong raids have to stop immediately.
So, a lot of us auditors like to just go and get freedom of information. And mind you now, here's a mayor and the attorney general for the state of Illinois you're about to see.
Can't have this.
And now is reacting to our 10-month CBS 2 investigation, exposing case after case of bad Chicago police raids happening at the homes of innocent people across the city.
Mayor, we've now had dozens of victims of wrong police raids.
Yeah.
Police using bad information without properly investigating.
What about the disgusting sovereign citizen judges that signed the search warrants? What about them? You notice how they work together. Does anyone notice that? Sovereigns are all working together against us.
Then busting into the wrong homes.
He gave us the wrong apartment.
Wrong homes, wrong targets, and pointing guns at the wrong people, including kids, over and over again.
I thought
Don't forget the grenades they throw in the houses.
they were going to shoot him.
Where did they point the gun at you?
I wanted to, like, right here.
Where did they point the rifle? How were they holding them?
Like this.
So we're going to dig down, look at these specific incidents, see what
Not
can learn from them and try to, as best we can, not to repeat those kinds of mistakes.
Like when 8-year-old Royal Wilson's
You don't want to repeat those mistakes and the unconstitutional drug war. Stop the million raids you guys do every year. Stop being disgusting domestic terrorists. That's how you could solve this problem.
family showed us how they were walked out at gunpoint and how the third grader was handcuffed for 30 minutes.
I was just scared. My legs were shaking.
I guess police think that these families are going to grow up to think that police are heroes, and then the police are going to wonder why people don't like them, right?
These incidents is an aggravator and a perpetuator of this mistrust that exists.
Chicago Inspector General Joe Ferguson knows he has a lot of work to do to fix this.
A number of the things that you've brought to us have prompted us to start to look at aspects of this.
One aspect we put a spotlight on is the trauma to innocent kids.
Why aren't you already keeping an eye on the police department as it is? Oh, that's right, because they investigate themselves. What a shocker that they can get away with over 10,000 raids a year or whatever it is.
The IG has now launched a full-scale investigation into the methods Chicago police are using to obtain and execute search warrants.
They use a bar and they knock it open.
So police did this?
Yes.
Crystal Archie says her son JJ and her daughters now fear the police.
The first raid was probably the
If you don't fear the police, you're an ignorant moron.
worst.
You heard that right. The first raid was the worst.
How many times
The first raid was the worst.
was your home invaded?
3 times. 3 times.
3 times they raided this woman's house with her kids with AR-15s and tactical gear and SWAT teams, looking for someone that doesn't live there. Remember that, people. When you start saying, hey, if you don't break the law, you ain't getting anything to worry about.
She says all 3 raids and warrants were for people she never even heard of.
Each time, the warrant was for nobody in your house.
Each time.
The warrants named suspected drug dealers.
All 3 times. They raided her house on a false, bogus warrant with misinformation, and they just keep doing it. And then they tell her they'll be back for more. It's not enough for them that they messed up 3 times, that then they threaten to come back again.
Known as Peanut and Lord T.
We don't have names in our home like Lord T and Peanut at all.
All 3 raids happened during the last 6 months, and while no one in her home was ever arrested, she says they were left with a threat of even more raids to come.
These officers told the children that they would be back.
Every single
The guys with guns who raided the wrong house 3 times told the young children, the minors, that they'll be back. And then when they grow up to be adults and they don't respect the police are going to be like, oh, what's your problem? Are you a San citizen? Okay.
one of these raid situations is a form of imposition of trauma by the government on citizens of the city.
You think?
The CBS2 investigators have been wanting to tell you how often something as traumatic as this actually happens to Chicago families. And we've been battling Chicago police for nearly a year to...
So for a year, CBS has been trying to get the public records from the Chicago Police Department, the mafia there.
Records released.
So you raised this issue with me a couple weeks back, and the very next day, I raised it with the superintendent and his leadership team.
But Chicago police top brass don't want you to have that information. So
Wonder why?
we went to the Illinois Attorney General's office, which forced CPD to release at least a small sliver of data.
Why? How is it that they force them to release a small amount of data? If you're gonna force them to release a small amount of data, why can't you force them to release all the data that's available? This is nonsense. The Attorney General can't get the Chicago Mafia police to release public records.
So what did the police eventually turn over? Only a fraction of search warrant records, full of holes with thousands of warrants missing. CPD gave
Stuff they turned over was bad. Imagine the stuff they didn't turn over.
us information on just 2,708 search warrants since 2016.
So in less than 3 years, you're going to see how many times they've done this. I think it's over 10,000. So you can take 365 times by 3. That gives you, let's see, 1,000, 1,020, 1,030 plus 65, 1,095 days divided by 10,000. That's like 10 raids a day. That's 8 to 10 raids a day in Chicago since 2016. That is unreal.
Yet we've uncovered there were more than 11,000 CPD warrants signed off on by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office during that time frame. So why isn't CPD releasing the other...
Actually more. Because I thought it was 10,000. It's 11,440.
8,000 plus warrants? They refuse to explain.
So they gave them, they would not release information on over 8,000 warrants, and they won't tell anyone why. And no one can do anything about it. Not the mayor, not the attorney general of the state. At what point should the military be called in? These guys are committing treason.
A question of FOIA. I'm all about it. I don't want people to have to hire lawyers, sue the city to get access
Get your police department under control then.
to basic information.
The 2,708 search warrant records CPD did turn over raises yet another question. They showed just 42 arrests. That means more than 98% of the time.
So 98% of the time, they don't make an arrest. On a search warrant where they bust in the door, damage your property, potentially hurt your children, and put your family in harm's way to make 42 arrests. Are we listening, people? Are you listening?
No one was arrested.
We have the right and the authority to have access to all the records of the police department.
Chicago's Inspector General says he plans on using his authority to get the records CPD has refused to release to us and to get to the truth.
We should make sure that there is tracking and accountability.
Do you believe we've uncovered troubling information?
You've absolutely uncovered a sufficient number of situations that have...
Finally, the mainstream media is doing something. This should be national news. This should be international news.
...resulted in really bad outcomes.
So it was the wrong apartment.
Yeah.
But wait until you hear just how wrong they got it. Remember when we told you about the raid on the Blassingame family and how the target police were looking for it didn't even live there?
They didn't investigate right. They didn't do anything right.
We found his name is Derek Bell. And
So they were looking for Derek Bell at this residence. And somehow CBS was able to find him in minutes. But somehow the SWAT team and the Chicago Police Department, with all the tax money and resources and weaponry and tanks and who knows what else they have, couldn't figure out how to do a Google search or whatever CBS did to find out where this guy was in minutes. They needed to raid a house with weapons and hope that he was there. Not even knowing if he's in the residence. Wouldn't you at least stake out the residence to see if he came in or out? Holy crap!
if the police would have checked their own criminal database, they would have discovered what we uncovered.
Their own database CBS used. The CBS used the police database to find the person the police couldn't find.
In minutes. At the time of the raid, Bell was actually 200 miles away and had been for years, serving time in a downstate prison for murder.
The informant told them that he'd been buying heroin out of the second floor apartment for 2 months from a guy named Ace, Derek Bell.
Then nobody stood it but me and my boys.
Again, no arrests were made, and her boys were all traumatized in the process with guns pointed at them.
It's something I won't forget.
What it does when we make mistakes, and particularly when we make mistakes in the way in which we deal with our children, that leaves an indelible scar that is very, very difficult to repair.
What are you thinking right now?
That they may come back.
For 10 months, we've been requesting an interview with Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson. He has refused every...
Oh, the superintendent of the police is too much of a coward to talk to the media? What a shocker!
request. The Inspector General says it could take a year to fully audit the police department's search warrant practices. Tomorrow,
The Attorney General of the state says it could take a year to audit the police. Why would it take a year? Wouldn't he just make a phone call and say, we need XYZ, please print it up? He's the Attorney General of the state. Holy crap. The Chicago PD running the whole state or what? Time to call in the military.
Al Hofeld Jr. is filing a federal lawsuit against CPD on behalf of the Archie family. Police have refused to turn over records involving both of these raids, and also they've refused to turn over body camera.
So they have body camera footage and refused to turn that over too. What are they so scared of over there at the Chicago PD?
There's two involving those raids, Brad and Erica. It just keeps happening. We keep getting more families coming forward. We encourage people who have information that have been raided wrongly to call us.
Yeah, I have about a half dozen questions for you, but we know you will continue to follow it.
You got it.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
So there you go. Amazing, huh? Isn't that good? Good stuff. Chicago PD, over 11,100 raids since 2016. And 98% of the ones they showed resulted in no arrests. 98%! I bet you they have rape kits sitting around, though, that haven't been tested yet. Holy crap. Thanks for watching. See you later. Love you. Bye.